Hello everybody, PokeKid here, and today I am going to be talking about the Guardians Rising Pokemon set. It's the next set coming out in the Sun and Moon series. So basically, let's just get into the list of cards, and not all of them are quite confirmed yet, most of them, but some of the secret rares we're not sure which ones are going to be in the set and which ones aren't. So, yeah. So, starting off, we've got Bellsprout, and there's just like a bunch of just straight up not great cards in Guardians Rising, like there are in all sets. The Victory Bell line is one of them. Victory Bell is pretty bad. It's second attack for 1 grass, 2 colorless, stick and absorb, does 80 damage and heal 20 damage from this Pokemon, and then defending Pokemon can't retreat. I can see how it would be useful, but it's just not good enough. So, next we've got Petil and Lilligant. Really just not great. And then we've got a Grass Phantom. Now, for 1 grass, tackle, 10 damage, 2 colorless, confused by your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. Doesn't look good. First thing you think, oh, it evolves into Trevenant. Just what we need. Another thing that evolves into Trevenant. Okay, whatever. Except the thing is, because it's grass, you can use Forest of Giant Plants to evolve straight into Trevenant, right, like when your turn is over, or on your first turn, without needing to wait a turn. And then you've got a Grass Trevenant, so you can also evolve into Trevenant Break on your first turn, except then you're missing the whole item lock thing. And what the Trevenant does is for 2 colorless, Poltergeist, 30 damage for each trainer card your opponent finds there, and obviously they have to reveal their hand. The second attack, Horn Leech, 2 grass, 1 colorless, 90 damage, heal 30 from this Pokemon. Not too great. Now, next we've got Wimpod. Bad. It is a 70 HP basic. And I guess Scamper Away is interesting. For 1 colorless, shuffle this Pokemon, all cards attached to it into your deck. Then Galiospod is a stage 1, it evolves from Wimpod, has 130 HP, its ability, Armor, it takes 30 less damage from attacks. And then for 1 grass, 2 colorless, so that's just a grass and a DCE, Resolute Claws, 80 damage, and then if your opponent's active Pokemon is a Pokemon GX or EX, this Pokemon does 70 more damage, so that's pretty good. And then we've got the old Victory Star Victini, 70 health. In case you don't know what Victory Star does. Once during your turn, after you flip a coin for an attack, you may ignore all results of those coin flips and begin flipping those coins again. And then you can't use more than 1 Victory Star. So it's not too great, but sometimes there's like really good stuff that like involves flipping. For instance, the Pinsir from Sun and Moon. It's for a DC, I'm pretty sure. You get to flip a coin, and then if heads, you just get rid of your opponent's active Pokemon and shuffle it back into their deck. And then Litwick, Lampen, Chandelure, its ability, Shady Move. Once during your turn, you may move 1 damage counter from 1 Pokemon to another Pokemon. It's fine, but it can move damage counters from your Pokemon to your opponent's. Or that could work with like Tauros or something. And now the Fire Oricorio. This one is good. So its second attack, 2 fires, Kindle, 30 damage, discard an energy from this Pokemon if you do discard an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. Interesting, not really good. And then for 1 fire, Passionate Dance. Search your deck for 3 basic fire Pokemon and put them on your bench. That is, like, really good. It can work with Incineroar. It's good with Volcanion. Bunch of different stuff. Next, we've got Slandit, which evolves into Salazzle, in Salazzle's ability, Hot Poison. When you place Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may leave your opponent's active Pokemon burned and poisoned. So that's pretty good. And then Turtonator, really DCE, body slam, 30 damage, flip a coin if heads your opponent's active Pokemon is paralyzed. Really not that good. And then Turtonator-GX. Now, this is one of my favorite cards of the set. So, Trap Shell, just a DCE, 20 damage. If this Pokemon is damaged by an attack during your opponent's next turn, place 8 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. Now, that right there is really good. You could run it even with Bursting Balloon, so you're placing 14 damage counters, except I think that's just a bit too much. You might do better using Choice Band, which I'll talk about later. And it's just really good. Like, there's nothing else to really say. It's just amazing attack. Your opponent's really not gonna want to hit you. You can use this on your first turn if you're going second and running DCs. So then you've got 2 fires, 1 colorless, Crimson Flame, 160. Discard 2 fire energies attached to this Pokemon. It's okay. It's not that great. And then Nitro-Tank-GX. This is also really good. Attach 5 fire energies from your discard pile to your Pokemon any way you like. So, Solgaleo is sort of an early game version of this, and Nitro-Tank is in late game. And this is the differences with, and it doesn't say basics, so you could attach the burning energy, but nobody really uses burning energy, except you could use it with Crimson Flame. So that could be a pretty devastating combo. Then you've got Alolan Sandshrew, which, although Alolan Pokemon have like a no energy attack, defense curl, flip a coin, prevent damage, it's fine, could be used to stall. Alolan Sandslash, its ability Snow Shovel, once during your turn you can draw a card. Okay, that's fine. I mean, it's nothing too special. And then Alolan Vulpix, for no energy, Beacon, search your deck for 2 Pokemon, reveal them, and put them in your hand. That's good. Like, that's the best no energy attack we've gotten so far. Like, that's actually really good. 2 Pokemon from your deck. And then Alolan Ninetales-GX. Basically, its attack, Ice Blade, does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. And then for 2 waters, 1 colorless, Blizzard Edge. Oh, and Ice Blade's 2 colorless. Blizzard Edge, 160 damage, discard 2 energy attached to your Pokemon. So, sort of like Turtonator-GX. And then for 2 colorless, Ice Path-GX. Move all damage counters from this Pokemon to your opponent's active Pokemon. Now, that's good. But then we have to consider that to Lapras-GX, which has a relatively similar attack to Blizzard Edge, which it does 160 damage, but the thing is, it's much easier to get around Lapras's effect than it is Alolan Ninetales. So, I think Lapras is better in this situation. So, and also it's a basic, so I don't think Alolan Ninetales is going to see a huge amount of play. And then we got Tentacool, and then Tentacruel. I mean, it's interesting. 3 colorless, Seething Tentacles, 40 damage, flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 40 more damage. If tails, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. Not too often that we see an attack that you want to flip tails for, but, I mean, whatever. And then we've got Politoed, and it's for 1 water roll call, search your deck for a Poliwag, Poliwhirl, and Poliwrath and put them on your bench. That's pretty good, because, like, they go on your bench. I can see how that's really good. And then for 1 water, 2 colorless, Hyper Jump, 100 damage. You may shuffle this Pokemon and all cards attached to it into your deck. That's good. And then we've got Delibird, which for 1 colorless, all the presents. Flip a coin until you get tails for each head. Search your deck for 1 card and put it in your hand. And then shuffle your deck. That's pretty good. I mean, it's not amazing. And it only has 90 health, but whatever. Then we got Carvanha, Sharpedo, Wailmer, still. Although, to be fair, Wailmer, 120 health on a basic, not too small. And then Wailord, 200 health. Dive for 2 waters, 1 colorless, 40 damage, flip coin. If heads, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon. Now that's good. And then we've got 3 water, 1 colorless, Open Sea, 80 damage, heal 30 damage from each of your water Pokemon. You can read that if you want. Kind of just a funny little thing. So we've got Snorunt, Glalie for 3 water, Raging Flow, 70 damage, and then if it has any damage counters, 80 more. So that's what, 150? Not too bad, with Choice Band 180. And Choice Band's like amazing. You'll understand why when I get to it if you don't already know. So Vanillux, not too great. 3 water, 80 damage, discard 2. Opponent's active Pokemon is paralyzed. Wishy-Washy. Interesting. Its ability, Schooling. Once during your turn, you can switch this Pokemon with a Wishy-Washy-GX in your hand. Interesting, and then any cards stay on. Not really that great. And then Wishy-Washy-GX. Now, this card looks awesome. It's really not that good. So here, I'll get you a zoom up. Does this work? There. You might have gotten it for a second. Whatever. So, for 1 water, Water Gun, 20 damage. 3 waters, 2 colorless, Micro Burst Vortex, 120 damage. Discard a special energy card attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. That's interesting. And then 3 water, 2 colorless again, Blue Surge GX, 220 damage. Move all energies attached to this Pokemon to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. Now this card seems good, but the thing is, 2 of its 3 attacks cost 5 energy, and the first attack is bad. So, nah. And then Marini, 1 colorless, Bailout, put a Pokemon from your discard pile into your hand. Alolan Geodude. Now, I was not expecting Alolan Geodude to be Lightning type, but, I mean, I guess it is. So, for no energy, Rock Polish. During your next turn, this Pokemon has no retreat cost. Interesting. I mean, whatever. And then Alolan Graveler is really not good at all. Just too expensive. And then Alolan Golem. So, for 1 lightning, 2 colorless, Electro Rock Wrecker. 80, and then you flip a coin for each lightning attached to this Pokemon, and it does 80 damage for each heads. Sounds good. I don't think it's that amazing. So, and then for 1 lightning, 3 colorless, Heavy Bomber, 200 damage, and that does 30 less damage for each colorless in the retreat cost of your opponent's active Pokemon. So, I think this has a little bit of promise, but I don't think it's that good. So, and then you got Helioptile, Helios. Nope, nothing really that good. I mean, Raging Thunder, 1 lightning, 2 colorless, 120, 30 more damage to one of your bench Pokemon. Nah. Vikavolt GX for 1 lightning, Charge Beam, 50 damage, attach 1 lightning or 1 energy card from your discard pile to this Pokemon, so that can be DCE. if the translation is what it actually says. 1 lightning, 3 colorless, super zap cannon, 180, discard 2 energy attached to this Pokemon. And then Gigatron-GX is what everybody feels like this is good. So for 1 lightning, 3 colorless, Gigatron-GX does 60 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Now, you might be saying, oh, that's not that good. I mean, whatever. But with Wide Lens, which makes it so then the Pokemon's card is attached to weakness and resistance applies to bench Pokemon, you can knock out every single Shaman on your opponent's bench, which is pretty good. And then the Pom-Pom Oricorio, I mean, 1 lightning for Feather Dance during your next turn. This Pokemon's Pom-Pom Punch does 100 damage, and Pom-Pom Punch 20, but it'll do 100 if you use Feather Dance last turn. And then Tapu Lele-GX. So, its ability, once during your turn, when you place a card from your hand onto your bench, you can move any number of lightning energy attached to your Pokemon to this Pokemon. When you move any energy, switch this Pokemon with your active Pokemon. So it's like Bustin on Dragonite, except only for lightning energy. And then 2 lightning, 1 colorless, Skyclaw, 130 damage. 2 lightning, 1 colorless, Tapu Thunder-GX does 50 damage times the number of energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. So I don't find this really that good. It only has 170 health. So yeah. Slowpoke, bad. Slowbro, Amnesia, 1 colorless, 20 damage. Choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks. They can't use that attack next turn. I mean, for 1 Psychic, Trubbish, Stomp Off, discard the top card of your opponent's deck. Garbodor is good. So for 1 Psychic, this attack does 20 damage for each item card in your opponent's discard pile. So when you think about it, so each deck, about at least a quarter of, or each competitive deck, at least a quarter of the deck is items. That's like generally about 15 to 20 items. So that math adds up really fast because there's VS Seekers, Trainer's Mails, Ultra Balls, just tons of different stuff. And then Gothita, Gothorita, Gothitelle. Nope. Oh, it has Link Blast, like Gardevoir. Does more damage though, 50 plus 80. And then the I have no idea how to pronounce that. Pau, I don't know, but the Pau Oricorio, its ability, Vital Dance. When you place Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you can search your deck for 2 basic energy, reveal them, and put them in your hand. That's pretty good. You can use Super Scoop Up and stuff. I was expecting this to be Fairy, though. I don't know. And then my favorite Oricorio, Sensu Oricorio. Come on. Bringing down the house. So, the thing you have to remember about this is that Dimension Valley exists, which makes both of its attacks cost 0 energy. So, Revelation Dance, 30 damage for 1 colorless. If there's no stadium card in play, this does nothing. Seems really bad, but again, could cost 0 energy. And there are times when it could be pretty good. And then Supernatural Dance. For each Pokemon in your opponent's discard pile, put 1 damage counter on your opponent's Pokemon any way you like. Now that's good. Like, you can just spread damage around, knock things out, and for 0 energy if Dimension Valley's out. And then also, if you have Dimension Valley out, then this will do 30 damage. So, yeah. So, Toxapex-GX, it evolves from the Marini, which was way up here, right here. So, it does, here it is. It's 1 Psychic, 30 damage, flip 4 coins. Well, it does 40 damage. It does 30 damage for each heads, and you flip 4 coins. For 3 Psychics, Ultra Toxic Poison. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now poison, and then put 10 damage counters instead of 1 in between turns. So that's 100 damage in between turns. And then for 3 Psychic, Toxic Shelter GX, 150 damage. Prevent all effects of attacks, including damage, done to this Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. Now, that is good. Like, that's all there is to it. That's just good. And then you got Mimikyu, and then for 1 Psychic, 1 colorless, if your opponent's Pokemon used an attack that isn't a GX attack during the last turn, use it as this attack. Pretty good. And then Delmise, its ability Steelworker, your metal Pokemon do 10 more damage. And that stacks, so if you have 4, then they're doing 40 more damage. Pretty interesting. And then the card that everyone's been talking about in Guardians Rising, which most of you have probably heard of, Tapu Lele-GX. So its ability Wonder Tag. When you place Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you may search your deck for a supporter card and put it in your hand. Right there, just good right then. Jirachi was played in tons of decks. It had 90 health. This is 170. Right there, they could have just stopped there, and this would have been played in tons of decks. But no. For 2 colorless energy to drive, this attack does 20 damage for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. It's X-Ball and Aerial Ball. So now you have Jirachi and Mewtwo. I'm saying Mewtwo because it's a Psychic type, as well as, like, Lugia has another attack. So now we've got Tapu Lele-GX, 170 health, and it's Jirachi and Mewtwo combined. And then for 1 Psychic, Tapu Cure-GX, heal all damage from 2 of your bench Pokemons. So right there you got healing, Jirachi, which was an extremely, like, a card that was played in almost every deck, and Mewtwo, which was a card that was played in a lot of decks. So right there, you've, like, a super, like, good card. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy. And I'm just gonna say, I'm guessing that this card is gonna end up costing, like, $60. Like, gonna be, like, Shaman cost. It's gonna be crazy. And then you got Lunala. I mean, it's bad. It has Shadow Shot. It does 40 damage for each Psychic attached. 3 Psychics, 130. Move all damage, or move all energies from this Pokemon to your bench Pokemon. Machoke is good. Oh, and we have 2 Machops, so, interesting. I would say that this one's, like, a ton better, although this one has 70 health, so maybe this one's better. So, Machoke, Daunting Pose. Prevent all damage done to your bench Pokemon by your opponent's attacks and abilities. Or prevent all damage done to your bench Pokemon by your opponent's attacks, and your opponent's attacks and abilities can't put damage counters on your bench Pokemon. So that stops just right there. That stops Trev, Landorus. Landorus is Hammerhead. And then Trev, and then also Decidueye. So that's good. It's Mr. Mime, as well as, like, a whole new effect that just shuts down Decidueye. It is, oh wait, no, it's weak to Psychic, not Grass, so never mind. And then Machamp is not great. I mean, settling score, 2 fighting, 20 damage, 80 more for each prize card your opponent took on the last turn. Sudowoodo is good, so its ability Roadblock, and I'm pretty sure in Sun and Moon, like, some Sudowoodo are, like, blocking the road. So that's a funny little, like, link into the video game. So your opponent can't have more than 4 bench Pokemon. Like Parallel City, but for 4. And that's just when it's on the bench. And then if more than one effect changes the number of bench Pokemon allowed, use the smaller number. So that's good. That shuts down mainly just Mega Ray and Rainbow Road. So I mean, we got a bunch of bad cards after this. Like Gigglar, Gliscor, Nosepass, Barboach, Whiscash. I mean, 1 fighting, 3 colorless, 100 damage for each energy discard off the top 3 cards that you discard. Whoa, hiccups, sort of. And then we've got Rockruff, Corner for 1 fighting. They can't. Your opponent's active Pokemon can't retreat on the next turn. And then we got Lycanroc-GX. I think it's called Midnight Form. And we got 200 health. It looks mean. It's cool. And then its ability, Bloodthirsty Eyes. When you place Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you can switch your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active Pokemon. That's pretty good. And then for 1 fighting, 2 colorless, Claw Slash, 110 damage. Oh wait, no, it doesn't knock out Shamans because of resistance. Maybe not amazing then. And then for 1 fighting, 1 colorless, Dangerous Rogue. 50 damage. 50 more damage for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. That is amazing. So we can use the other Lycanroc-GX. And remember, they have the same name, so you can only run 4 of the combination of the Midnight Form and the, I think it's like, Noon Form. I don't know. So basically, you use the Noon Form for the first attack and I guess the second attack, sort of. And you use this for its ability and GX attack. And I think this is one of the better GX attacks we have gotten. Because either it's just a one-shot during their game, or your opponent is trying to limit the amount of, like, cards or bench Pokemon that they play down. So, it's good. And then Muzdale, 3 fighting, 1 colorless, high horsepower, 180, 40 damage to itself. Pretty good. And then 2 fightings, 1 colorless, 120 if it has a tool attached. And then Minor, 3 fighting, Cosmic. Ooh, how do you pronounce that? Sorry for the loud noise. I just accidentally knocked something over. How do you pronounce that? Cosmic Explosion. Cosmic Explosion. 190 damage, and then you knock yourself out. Interesting. Pretty good with Choice Band. And then we just, Ravenclaw, 2 DCEs. This attack does 10 damage for each damage counter on all of your opponent's Pokemon. Pretty good. Sableye. Now, this is good. 1 dark, your opponent can't play supporter cards next turn. Good. Absol, Doom News, 1 dark, 1 colorless, put all energy attached to this Pokemon into your hand, and then at the end of your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon will be knocked out. Not great, they can just switch. That's all there is to it. And then we got Metagross-GX. Its ability, Geotech System. Once during your turn, you may attach either a Psychic or Metal energy from your discard pile to your active Pokemon. That's pretty good. Then 2 metals, 1 colorless, 150, and then you can't use Giga Hammer next turn. 1 colorless, Algorithm GX. Search your deck for 5 cards and put them in your hand. That's pretty good, but they can just end you or something. So, Probass, just bad. Yeah. Solgaleo is good. So basically, for 1 metal, 1 colorless, does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon, including actives, or bench if you want. And remember, this guy's a stage 2, so yeah. And then it runs 2 metal, 1 colorless, 170, and then you can't use Fangs of the Sun next turn. Also, really good. So, now we've got Clefable, which is bad. And then Sylveon-GX. Now, Sylveon-GX is good. So for one fairy, search your deck for 3 cards and put them in your hand. That's good, just early game. 1 fairy, 2 colorless, 110. Good, knocking out Shaymins. And then 1 fairy, 2 colorless. I don't know how to pronounce that. Purrier. Okay. GX. Pick 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon, and then you return those Pokemon, all cards attached to them, into their hand. That can just set them back. And then Comfy Flower Shield. As long as Pokemon is in play, Pokemon with fairy energies can't be affected by special conditions, like Verdant Wind, but for fairies. And I love the art on this Goomy. Isn't it just, like, amazing? And then we got Goodra, which is bad. Drampa, again, pretty bad. I mean, Jagmo, 60 damage. And then 10 less damage from attacks. Bad. And then Como-GX. Now, this card is bad. So, 1 colorless, 30 damage. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 30 less damage. 1 lightning, 1 fighting, and 2 colorless, 130. This attack isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. That goes through, I guess, Glaceon. And then for 1 fighting, 1 lightning, and 2 colorless, Ultra Uppercut GX, 240. That's just not good. Like, it costs a ton. This is the only good attack, because this is a stage 2. This is the only good attack, and it costs 4 energy. I mean, it's pretty bad. And then we've got the ability Farm Fresh Eggs. Once during your turn, when you play this card to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may heal 80 damage from your active Pokemon. Interesting. And then we've got, I mean, it's attack 4 colorless, 160, 80 damage to itself. You can heal that, but not too great. Now, I always love Cast Form. Isn't he just adorable? And he now has a pretty good attack. So for 1 colorless, search your deck for 2 stadiums and put them in your hand. That's pretty good. And then we got the big bad Rayquaza. So for 2 colorless, 30 damage, 2 basic energy from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. Second attack, 80, not great. Choice Band, 110, okay. But Turbo Storm is just so good, because you can use DCE. That's just, like, amazing. And then we've got Watchdog, which I find a hilarious name, Watchdog. I mean, come on. Fletchling, which I find this, like, art totally adorable. And then we got Talonflame. Really not great, kind of disappointing. I like Talonflame as a card or a Pokemon. It's cool. Beware. Its ability, Rake It In. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you can draw 3 cards. Pretty good. And then 120 on basics, 60 on evolved, 3 colorless. Not too great. Kamala, its ability, Comatose. As long as Pokemon's your active Pokemon, when you attach an energy to it, it's asleep. Kind of sad. 3 colorless, 100. This attack can be used if this Pokemon's asleep, and then it'll do nothing if it's not asleep. And then we got Drampa. Now, a bunch of people think Drampa's good. I personally don't like it. So for 1 colorless, 20 damage, discard a special energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. Interesting. Okay. 3 colorless, 80. If your bench Pokemon have any damage counters on them, 70. Okay. And then what a bunch of people like this for is one colorless Great Revolution GX. Shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 10 cards. I only have one thing to say to this GX attack. N. I mean, N just ruins it. Yeah. So, and then we've got the longest name in the world, Ether Paradise Conservation Area, or as I like to call it, APCA. Sure, APCA. Basic grass and lightning Pokemon take 30 less damage. It can be useful with, like, Raikou. And then in a bunch of other Pokemon. So Altar of the Moon, retreat cost of each Pokemon that has any psychic or dark energies attached is 2 less. Altar of the Sun, fire and metal Pokemon have no weakness. Now that's good. And then another card that's gotten tons of people super excited about this set is Aqua Patch. So attach a basic water energy from your discard pile to one of your benched water Pokemon. Now that's good. We had Dark Patch earlier that got tons of play. And now this is for water. It can be played with Lapras. I guess technically Wishy-Washy, even though I still don't like Wishy-Washy. So Brooklet Hill. If you didn't know, that's where you have your water trial in the video game. Once during each player's turn, that player may search their deck for a basic water or basic fighting Pokemon and put it on their bench. It's fine. I mean, it can be useful in Water Box. And then another amazing card from this set is Choice Band. So attach a Pokemon tool to one of your Pokemon that doesn't already have a Pokemon tool attached to it. Why did I just read that? Everyone knows that. Whatever. So the attacks of the Pokemon's cards attached to do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon GX or EX. That is amazing. So, first things first about Choice Band. Silver Bangles like it. It got a ton of not a ton. It got some play. It couldn't be attached to EXs. And it only did 30 more to EXs. This one can be attached to anything, and it does 30 more to GXs or EXs. That's good. Then we got Energy Loto. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck. You may reveal an energy card you find there and put it in your hand. I don't love it. It's fine. Energy Recycler is a reprint. Same with Enhanced Hammer, and I love this art right here. Field Blower, choose 2 in any combination of tools and stadiums and discard them. We got our tool removal, people. This is what tons of people have been asking for. It's tool removal, and you can get rid of stadiums. Pretty good. And then we've got our new Draw Supporter. Draw Supporter. And it's amazing. So shuffle your hand to your deck. If you've used your GX attack, draw 7 cards. If not, draw 4 cards. Solgaleo makes this card good. Because you use it on your first turn. You can use Solgaleo Soul Burst on your first turn, and then from now on you have a card that you get to shuffle your hand to your deck and draw 7 cards. That's really good. We've got Mallow. Search your deck for 2 cards and put them on top of your deck in any order. It's fine. Max Potion, reprint, multi-switch. Move an energy card from one of your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon. I mean, energy switch, I guess you can move specials, but I don't love it. And then we've got another choose one of multiple option cards, Rescue Stretcher. Words really aren't working out for me today. So you choose one, put a Pokemon from your discard pile into your hand, or shuffle 3 Pokemon from your discard pile into your deck. That's good. So then we got our full arts of the set. Turtonator-GX, Ninetales-GX, Wishy-Washy, that is big, GX, Vikavolt-GX, Tapu Lele-GX. We got that, another huge, what's it called? What is it called? Blanking on the name here. Let me see. Toxapex-GX. Okay, bad-a-doo-doo. Toxapex-GX. Tapu Lele-GX. The Midnight form of Lycanroc. Metagross. Giant Sylveon. Como. Drampa. Hala right here, and I think that art's really nice. Giant How just wants to show himself to the world, and I love his little Alolan Raichu. And we got Mallow. So they're really pretty full arts, I have to say. And let me just get rid of them. And then we're basically, we're going to have the Decidueye, Incineroar, and Primarina secret rares. We're going to have the, yeah, I know, it says double chicken nuggets, okay, it's DCE. We are having secret rare DCE and secret rare secret rare grass. Those are confirmed. And then there's some arts for some cards that might be in the set. Ignore those. And yeah, that's basically it. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye!